Hi everyone, welcome to this video on MLOps on AWS with the AWS SageMaker project. About me a little bit, I'm a data scientist by profession. I'm an AWS UG leader from Mumbai. I was also an AWS Diversity Scholar recipient of 2019 and currently an AWS community builder as well. And you can find me on LinkedIn at Sukanya Mandal. So let's start from the very beginning, looking at what traditional programming and machine learning looks like. So traditional programming is pretty simple. You write a program for your computer and then you get output. On the contrary, machine learning is an iterative process wherein you give your input data, you write the algorithm, you get the output, and depending on the nature of the output you then again maybe use that output as an input or use a new set of inputs to the model and then get the set of outputs. So the process of deployment for a traditional programming is you build and test, you deploy, and then you monitor. Whereas if you see a machine learning, you do the data preparation, then you train, deploy, and manage. And this training, deploying, and managing or monitoring is quite iterative. Traditional programming or software engineering in deployment process involves DevOps. So in DevOps, basically you have one as the development phase and the other is the operations phase. In the development phase, you plan, code, build, and test, and then you move on to continuous integration phase, wherein you release, deploy, operate, and monitor. And then comes a continuous feedback loop, and this loop continues for DevOps. Now, when it comes to machine learning, an industry ML lifecycle followed by most projects within industry, wherein the first step is your business understanding. You project an objective. Let's say your stakeholder comes to you and they say that they require something in any XYZ domain. Let's say, for example, automobile domain. They want an output from the data generated by the car. Then you understand the business objective from your stakeholder, and basis that understanding you try and gather data, or else if you have a predefined set of data already, you perform data understanding. In that you explore the data and you perform data selection, wherein you choose which of these are important and useful for you. Then once you are done with that state, you go for data preparation, wherein feature engineering comes into existence. You do heavy feature engineering to prepare your data to be fed by the model. In the modeling phase, what you do is you predict potential customers or any other use cases using your ML algorithms. And post modeling, there comes an algorithmic evaluation, wherein test your model as well as evaluate the metrics that you have passed for the model. From evaluation, there comes an reiterative phase. If you're not happy with the evaluation, or if you see that there are scope of improvement, you again go back to the business understanding phase, wherein you reiterate the process and go back and see if there are any additional requirements, or if you have understood the previous requirements correctly or not, and then follow the further steps, which is data understanding, data preparation, modeling, and then again come to evaluation, and see if your final evaluation is desired, and this is what you wanted or not. And then post that, once you're happy with the result, you go for the deployment phase, wherein you perform user acceptance testing and other testing automations, etc. So now, based on what I just explained in the CRISP-DM framework, typical ML SDLC, typical machine learning software development lifecycle process looks like this, wherein you develop and test locally, which is ideally some weeks of task. But then when you move to production set, you package, you scale out, you tune, you then instrument, which is you perform monitoring, logging, versioning, and other sets of security controls. And then once these are all done, then you go for automating the entire model pipeline. This takes months of work, and this is where ML projects expand to months or even years, even with large set of teams of of developers, scientists, data engineers, and DevOps. So the process, besides being iterative, it is also quite complex because with the iteration of the model building and as well as the ML lifecycle phase, your iterations on the operations phase also needs to be taken care of. Now, when we are talking about MLOps, there are certain business problems that we are targeting. One of them is heterogeneity, which means multiple language, multiple framework combination. Then there are hardware dependencies as well as, and also for GPU cases or any other higher sets of hardware, you require substantial architectural investment. Then you also have the problem of new frameworks every year or even months. So there's a rapid development going on in the technology side as well. And frameworks and languages evolve constantly, which requires ongoing maintenance and testing. Next comes the problem of composability, wherein you have multiple frameworks, multiple languages, multiple teams, all needs to work together. Which one works best, you need to figure out. Then comes the problem of performance. So performance is basically model performance, data performance, the pipeline performance, and basically the entire ML lifecycle performance. And it is very subjective, contextual, as well as very sensitive subject because every minute details needs to be taken care of. And continuing on this point, there are multiple success factors. It's not just about the accuracy, it's about how, it's also about how good your data is, your how good your model metrics are. All these comes into picture. And also how well you understand the domain. All of these together makes a combined success factor. Then also there is a problem that you just build one model and that works for every data set. That's not the case. You have to customize your model and you need to see what fits where, so that you understand which model to apply in which case scenarios. Then you have the problem of reusability. There is, with this rapid development in the technological field of ML as well, teams constantly keeps reinventing the wheel. Then also there is a serious need for version controlling, not just for the model, also for the data, also for the other infrastructure. So all of these needs to be taken care of, and proper version control needs to be significantly thought of and devised accordingly. Then there is, as we stated earlier, there is multiple language and framework, which basically introduces the problem of incompatibility. Then there is an iteration speed, which means basically model development lifecycle, as we mentioned earlier, is an evolving ecosystem, and it needs to be dealt with faster, because even if there is a minute delay, that might just hamper your accuracy, because the data nowadays, data inflow is fast, rapid, and you need to constantly keep up your model accuracies or model performance based on the new data sets that you incur. Well, machine learning moves way faster than traditional application development, because you need to keep up with constant changes. Then it also introduces a breaking change that apps to apps that consume model output. So basically, if your application is consuming your model output, then in that case, your app should be capable of consuming those model outputs at a constant rate. Then you have the problem of infrastructure, wherein you train using a specific set of environment configurations, but your production environment configurations is a complete different set, wherein production environment has much shorter compute bursts, then it's way more flexible, and it demands elasticity, it is stateless, and there are multiple users interacting with the production environment. So all of these considerations needs to be taken care of, and all of these points poses serious business challenges while designing or while executing an ML project end to end. So here is what enters MLOps, machine learning operations, wherein we add an extra step called experiment to the existing DevOps state. So in the experiment phase, what we do is we define the problem statement, we gather data, we explore, then we put it through modeling, and then evaluate. So this keeps on reiterating. And post this, alongside this, what happens is we follow the traditional phase of DevOps, wherein we have the code, we build, we do continuous testing, then release, deploy, operate, monitor, plan, and then again, if reiteration is required, you reiterate. Now, ML Ops as a continuous process, what does it entail? So ML Ops is basically an ML engineering culture which includes continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous training, which comes under the continuous development and deployment phase. So continuous integration basically extends testing and validating code and components by adding testing and validating data and models. Continuous delivery means delivery of an ML training pipeline that automatically deploys another ML model prediction services. And continuous training is an addition step to the traditional DevOps, specifically for MLOps, wherein you automatically retrain your ML models for redeployment. Now, there is another continuous process that entails to MLOps lifecycle, which is continuous monitoring. You need to continuously monitor what you deploy in production. And the again, not just the model or the compute health, but also the performance metrics, your business metrics, your data, all of these are bound to change rapidly. So there is a significant need to design monitoring systems for MLOps. Now, addressing this problem, herein we have AWS SageMaker project. What is a SageMaker project? So it's an AWS service catalog provisioned product that enables us to easily create end-to-end ML solution. Talking about AWS service catalog, what is it? It enables organization to create and manage catalogs of IT services that are approved for AWS. Now, AWS Service Catalog allows organization to centrally manage commonly deployed IT services and helps organization achieve consistent governance and meet compliance requirements. Some of the benefits of AWS Service Catalogs are standardization, wherein this allows administering and managing approved assets by restricting where the product can be launched, the type of instances that can be used, and many other configuration options. Second benefit is self-service discovery and launch, wherein the users browse listing of products, services, or applications that they have access to, locate the product they want to use, and launch it on their own as a provisioned product. Third benefit is fine-grained access control, which means administrators assemble portfolios of products from their catalog, add constraints and resource tags to be used at provisioning, and then grant access to the portfolio through AWS Identity and Access Management and IAM users and groups. Extensibility and version control is the fourth benefit of AWS Service Catalog, which basically means administrators can add a product to any number of portfolios and restrict it without creating any other copy. Updating the product to a new version propagates the update to all products in every portfolio that it is being referenced to. So a typical SageMaker project with a CI/CD template includes one or more code commit repositories with sample code for building and deploying ML solutions. These are working examples that you can clone locally to explore the code provided by SageMaker and modify it based on your needs. You can also own this code, basically push it from your repository and then version control it from your work. Then it includes SageMaker pipeline, which defines the steps for data preparation, training, model evaluation, and model deployment. It also includes a code pipeline that runs SageMaker pipeline every time a new version of the code is checked in. AWS Code Pipeline is a continuous delivery service which we can use to model, visualize, and automate the steps required to release our software. We can also quickly model and configure different stages of a software release process. Code pipeline automates these steps required to release software changes continuously. And it also includes a model group that contains model versions. Each time the SageMaker pipeline runs and the resulting model version is accepted in the conditional validation step, a new model version is deployed to the SageMaker endpoint. Now, when you're talking about SageMaker project and MLOps, it is important to know when to use SageMaker projects. So basically, while notebooks are helpful for model building and experimentations, when one have a team of data scientists or ML engineers working on a single ML problem, one needs more scalable way to maintain code consistency and have stricter version control. Having the code only in notebook files makes it harder to collaborate. Not just that, it also raises the risk of losing code and model artifacts if the notebook is accidentally deleted or changed. Also, by using SageMaker project, we can manage the version of our Git repositories so that we can collaborate across teams more efficiently, ensure code consistency, and enable proper CI/CD. Also, in addition to the benefits, we also have a problem of managing code, wherein SageMaker projects enable MLOps for model building, model deployment, and end-to-end ML workflows. We can run training jobs or SageMaker pipelines to build model in SageMaker Studio. However, if we want to create, let's say, a CI/CD system that generates model based on triggers, such as when someone checks in a code changes, then we should be considering SageMaker project using SageMaker provided templates. This is essentially useful when in case of such kind of reiterative process as ML lifecycle, wherein every time a change is made, it automatically triggers your pipeline. But one thing that we should be noting is that we won't need SageMaker pipeline to create SageMaker project templates. Now, there are typically three kinds of templates that are provided by SageMaker project. And also you can create your custom template. Here is a link. You can follow this docs link, Amazon docs link to know how to create your custom project templates. So three of the other project templates that are provided by SageMaker projects are MLOps template for just model building and training, another template for just model deployment, and another template for model building, training, and deployment together. Now that we have talked about SageMaker ML project, let's see how it works. So the first step would be to configure your SageMaker ML Studio. For that, you need to navigate to SageMaker, and then you need to click on SageMaker Studio and create a studio project. Once that is done, you launch SageMaker Studio and you sign into that, and then you choose component and registries, and then choose projects in the drop down list. So this is something that you'll see once you do this. Next step would be to create a project, and this is where you click and you can create a project. Your ideal environment would look like this. Next step is for SageMaker project templates, you choose an organization template and then choose MLOps template for model building, training, and deployment. So if you remember, just 2 or 3 slides back, we were talking about three predefined templates provided by SageMaker project. And in this lab, we will be choosing MLOps template for model building, training, and deployment. Once this is done, you need to go to the project details, right? For project details, you need to you click on next, and then you enter the project details and also the description of your projects, and then click on create project. This should create a project for you. Once this is done, we move on to the next step, which is cloning the repository. So here what happens is, after your project is created, you will see two code commit repositories that are present. One of these code commit repositories basically contains code to build and train a model, and the other one is to deploy the model. So in this step, which is cloning the repository, we will clone the repository to the local SageMaker that contains the code to build and train the model to the local SageMaker Studio environment so that we can work with the code. So for that, again, you choose component and registries and then choose projects from the drop down list. This is something that you will see. Then you find the name of the project you created in the previous step, and then double click on it to open it in the projects tab for your project. Once this is done, go to the projects tab and choose repositories, and in the local path column for the repository that ends with model build, choose clone repo. All right, and you see something that ends with hyphen model build. You need to choose clone repo. Then a dialog box will appear, and just fill in the necessary details, including your repository name, your repository UI, and your repository local path. And then you click on clone repository. So once you click on clone repository, what happens is a local path appears in the local path column, right? And then you click on that path. So once you choose this local path appears here, and then once you select this, you can see your cloned repository in the SageMaker Studio. Post that, what you need to do is for the sake of this lab, let's make some changes in the code, and you'll see something called pipeline.py file, right? And then you in this step, basically we'll make change to the code and then we'll commit back to the repository. So in SageMaker Studio, choose the browser icon and navigate to pipeline/ab alone folder and double click on pipeline.py. So once you double click on this, it opens up the code file in your SageMaker Studio. Now in the pipeline.py file, wherever there is a training instance type parameter string, this chunk of code, change the default value from mlm5x large to mlm5 large, and then Control S and save the change. Once that is done, you click on the Git icon, you stage, commit, and push the change in the pipeline. So now once you do this, basically your model gets updated, and then next step would be to approve the model. So in the previous step, once you committed the changes, your model got updated and a new version was created. So now we will approve the new version and deploy the process, right? So to approve the model, what we would need to do is choose the component and registries and then choose projects from the drop down list. Again, this is how it would look like. And then you find your name of the project you create it in the very first step, and then double click and open it. And then in the projects tab, you'll see something like something called model groups. You double click on that and double click the name of the model, and that appears in the model group. Next, in the model group, double click on version 2, which is your new version, and choose update status. Then in the model update model version status dialog box, you just choose approve and then update the status. So this basically approves your new version of the model. Next step is to deploy the model version to production. For that, what you would need to do is you would log into the code pipeline console at this link. Then you choose the pipelines, and then choose the pipelines with this name, SageMaker hyphen your project name, your project ID hyphen model deploy, wherein your project name is would be the name of your project that you've assigned, and the project ID would be the ID of your project. Then in the deploy staging phase, you just need to choose review. In the review dialog box, choose approve, and then approving the deploying stage causes your MLOps system to deploy the model to production. And how can you view this model deployed in production? You just need to choose the endpoints tab on the projects tab in SageMaker Studio, and then that would redirect you to your model endpoint. Here are a few links for you to explore. The first one is about SageMaker project. This is the Amazon doc. Please go to this link to find out more about SageMaker project. The second link is about onboarding to SageMaker Studio, which is a prerequisite even before you start with your SageMaker project. So this link will help you set up your SageMaker Studio for your SageMaker project. And the third link is about AWS ML framework, which provides two automated frameworks, one for single account and other for multiple account. This also encourages you to bring your own framework, and you can play around with the existing framework as well. Thank you so much for listening to this session.